What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to go over the process and the options you have when your appraisal comes in low. So the two most common reasons why we see that a house does not appraise is, first, it's in a conforming neighborhood and that seller has chosen to update or upgrade the house to a certain degree that is well above what the other houses in the neighborhood are bringing, because the appraiser is going to use 6 homes within that conforming neighborhood to the best of their ability, and if you've overbuilt or over updated, you're just not going to get that value out of that contract. The second reason is because the house is in a non-conforming neighborhood. Maybe it's on some land and it's not within a neighborhood where the builder is all the same or very closely built with the same materials. So that's another reason why there might be a different assessment of the land versus the actual upfit or the single family home that's on that property. And it might be difficult for that appraiser to find other properties like that one that will closely match values. All right, so the next question is always, okay, what do I do if my house under appraises? You have 3 options here as the buyer and the seller. So setting expectations with our clients is very important. We go over this before we go under contract as a possibility. Let's take a $300,000 house and say it appraises for $250,000 for whatever reason. You have an option as a buyer and seller to just disengage from the contract altogether. It's null and void. The seller does not want to sell for that price. The buyer is not going to move forward. Second option is that the buyer and seller agree to a certain degree that the buyer will make up the difference, using the same example from $300,000 to $250,000. Sometimes they can make up the full difference of $50,000. Sometimes it's 10 or 5. It's negotiated between the buyer and the seller. The third option is that the seller just concedes and says, hey, look, I understand, I'm going to sell it for $250,000, and both buyer and seller agree to sell it for the appraised value. So guys, the way that we avoid having appraisal issues is setting expectations up front, whether on the buyer or seller side. We run through a lot of homework, not only for the house, it's also the neighborhood, the zip code even, and we call it the 30,000 foot view of what you're purchasing. So guys, on the seller side, what we do is we take a lot of time up front and we do a lot of homework on the property. The reason we do this is we want to set expectations for that seller to make sure that we're within what I call the buy box of what the appraiser is going to look for as far as value. Doesn't matter what you've done for updates, we want to make sure that we're not going to get the house under contract and then halfway through that process we come in at $50,000 below contract to avoid that frustration. On the buy side, we do the same type of homework so that we're saving our buyers time and not showing them homes that are grossly overpriced that will ultimately fall out of contract later. So guys, if you want a deeper conversation about this for your specific goals, we'd love that opportunity. Reach out to us at DeLisleProperties.com. And remember, with Delisle Properties, luxury always comes standard.